God bless everybody. Today is February 18th, 2026, and silver keeps moving. It goes up, it goes down, and the globalists keep fighting. They cannot let silver explode, but yet silver is going to explode. I want to have Andrew back again because Andrew sees what's happening in the real physical market, because silver is not like a stock ticker, which you can just click a button, buy a stock. No. Silver is the real deal. We're talking hard asset, precious metal. So it's completely void of the natural laws of stocks, even though people want to try to perceive it to be like that. It's not. So, Andrew, let's talk gold. Let's talk silver. Let's talk delivery issues. Let's talk why silver is precious, why it is a hard asset, and why it has nothing to do with what we might perceive as paper stocks.
Oh yeah, and I'm glad that you bring this up because this is something that that as the average investor out there starts to become educated about silver on, this has been a stumbling block for them, and it's something that I think that we need to repeat over and over. So the first thing that I have to say about it is that when you Google what is the price of 1 ounce of silver today, or what is the spot price of silver, you'll come up with about $77.49 for 1 ounce. And you cannot buy an ounce of silver for $77.49. For example, many companies out there are selling silver eagles for $15 or $20 or more per ounce over the spot price. And that's the going rate. So let's say that silver is $77 an ounce right now. And if it costs you $97 to buy a 1 ounce silver eagle, that's a premium of about 26, a little bit over 26%. And I just want to make it real clear to people that 26% isn't what goes in the dealer or broker's pocket. They don't make 26% on that transaction. It starts from the miners that mine it out of the ground. It goes to the refinery where that raw silver is now turned into beautiful silver bars or coins. And then and then a wholesaler gets a hold of those items. And then a broker will get a hold of those items after the wholesaler. So there's many entities that have their hand out during the entire process, and there's no way around it. So silver eagles cost between about $20 an ounce over spot. If you buy in quantity, it can potentially be a little bit better than that, as you see right there. But it's just what you're seeing there with those higher spreads. They've pretty much always been there. When I worked for the coin shop back in the mid 1980s, when silver was $4 an ounce, the premium of what we sold it for was $1.25 an ounce over spot. When silver was $3 an ounce, we sold it for $1 over, which is a 33% premium. And a premium is not a markup. So one thing that we're going to see here, and I'll close with this, Bo, and I'd love to hear your comments, is that what we're seeing is a huge strain on the silver eagle market right now, where it's February 18th today. And I'll call it right now that the U.S. Mint is probably going to sell out of silver eagles sometime next month in March. It used to do that almost every year. It's not done it since like it's been at least 4 years. So it's been a really long time. When that happens, Bo, what you actually talked about happening is going to happen. You could see 50% premiums where if silver is $80 an ounce spot price, it could cost you about $120 for a 1 ounce silver eagle. So that could potentially be coming. And I just wanted to let people know that the physical silver market is heavily strained because the spot price includes both the physical silver market and the paper silver market, but it doesn't allow for the physical silver market to trade on a separate spot price like they do in China. And I think eventually it will. So for right now, the premiums are about medium to high, and they're probably going much higher.
Andrew and I have always stated very clearly that when silver starts to go up in price, we were talking of silver specifically, at $20 for a long time. We talk about silver at $25 for a long time. And now it's, as we speak, Silver right now is $77 and like 30 or 40 cents. Okay. But just to go to any coin dealer online, okay, you're looking at not even an eagle, but just a bar of silver is anywhere between $91 and $95. Let that sink in. Okay. So between $90 and $94 for 1 ounce of silver. But yet you go online and it says it's $77. What? You see what I'm trying to say is this is what we said was going to be happening, and it is happening exactly like we said it would. So please don't be surprised. Unfortunately, if you haven't heard or seen of our podcast, please understand this is going to get worse. Okay. It will get worse because the higher the spot price goes, the greater the expansile factor on the spread. And again, it's just Andrew cannot go to his dealer right now who he buys from. Andrew owns Beverly Hills Precious Metals. He can't go to his vendor and buy silver for $77. It doesn't work that way because everyone is going to put a markup on it. And depending on demand, which is what? That's a part of industry, right? Supply and demand. When everybody wants something, guess what happens to demand? Okay. That's everybody wanting it. So therefore, the price starts to escalate. And there is your acceleration of the premium price. So that's why you can't even go buy an ounce of a bar of silver for 77. You're looking at $90 to $95 right now. An eagle is even a few dollars on top of that yet. Okay. So what I'm trying to say is this is going to get worse because guess what hasn't happened yet? Everybody listen closely. You know what hasn't happened yet? Silver hasn't exploded. I'm going to repeat. Silver hasn't exploded. How do you know it's going to explode? Because God said. Not my opinion. And I'm going to show you a chart in a second that will confer beyond a shadow of a doubt that what we're saying is 1,000% right. Okay. Because when gold explodes, so does silver. Because as Andrew says, what's good for, go ahead, Andrew, what's good for
gold is great for silver. Absolutely.
Thank you. In both directions, right? So when gold's going up, it's good for gold, great for silver. But what do we just see happen on February 1? Well, at the end of January, we saw gold was going up and silver was gold on steroids, was it not? Since the start of the year, silver has doubled in price to go into $121. Craziness that happened since the start of the year. We're only a month into the year right now. Okay, well, a month and 2 weeks, so 6 weeks. But what an exciting time. But then what happened? February hit. And the bankers decided to create, this is crazy. They created $10 trillion out of thin air, brought it into the precious metal market, into the paper sector, and slammed gold all the way down from $120 down to like $70, 68 for a brief instance, but basically bounced off of 70. Let that sink in. It took $10 trillion to do that. Let it sink in because it did. Okay. And what happened? But they still have a problem because silver is still, as we speak, $77. And that's a huge problem for the bankers because unless they can take silver back down to $20, which will never happen, they're having a horrible time right now. And we're at a moment in time which is about to go biblical, where silver is about to explode. Not my opinion, the word of God. God doesn't lie. God said silver is going to explode, which means what? It's going to blow the roof off the top, which was what? $121. Means it's going to blow through that. Now, when silver blows through $121, Andrew, just, your best educated guess. But if silver blows through 121 and goes to say 150, will you be able to buy silver at 150? Talk about spreads and answer that question. What would happen in your best opinion?
It's going to be really, really difficult to get a hold of it at that level. And I can tell you that just based on the number of phone calls and emails and website submissions that we were getting, from, I would say, about the second week of January up until about a week ago. It's been so incredible where people would reach out to us and they'd say, hey, I called you 2 days ago and you've not gotten back with me. And our response would just be like, hey, sorry about that. It's the entire industry is being bombarded right now by people that want to get silver like immediately. And the reason really is that there's a real possibility of a COMEX default. And COMEX is the exchange that silver trades on the futures market. And the COMEX trades need to have a certain amount of physical silver in order to back those trades. They call it registered inventory. And they say that it's roughly 4 ounces of paper equal 1 ounce of physical silver. I think it's way more than that. But if we just go with their number and you're looking at a pie cut into 5 slices, if the bank owns 3/5 of the pie or 4/5 of the pie, if JP Morgan decides they're gonna short silver, they can crush the physical silver market because it represents such a small amount of the silver that's being traded, both physical and paper, on any given day. So for example, on January 2026, there was 103 million ounces of registered silver backing paper trades, but the number of paper trades that have open interest was about hundreds of millions of ounces of silver. So really, we're very close to crushing the banks with our long position on our physical silver because their shorts aren't holding up, even though the paper silver being shorted heavily outweighs the physical market. That's why I think that the physical market's going to break away from the paper market like it has in China. I've heard China's selling silver at like their spot is not $77.49. Their spot is between $8 and $15 an ounce higher than that. Then there's a premium on top of that. And to me, that's how it should be. I don't usually agree with China, but that's how it should be because it should be based on just the basic rules of supply and demand. If the demand is so strong that the supply cannot hold up, and you're seeing 3 and 4 week delays from wholesalers to dealer, like I'm seeing right now, then that tells me that silver is greatly undervalued. So yes, the premiums are higher. When I say it's taking 3 to 4 weeks for dealers to ship to me, that's okay. I'm buying far in advance. We're not taking money from people today and then using their money to buy silver with, to deliver the silver to them with. We buy inventory that we hold on to, and then we sell out of that. So because of that, we focus primarily on items that we already have in stock that can ship quickly. Even with that, it's still taken a week to 2 weeks to get everything shipped out because it's like there's a bottleneck. There's a cog in the system where there's so many orders coming in and there's only so much manpower to be able to pack them up and ship them. So yes, silver is still available. The premiums are going higher. They're not too high now, but you should be careful who you deal with because you want to deal with somebody that you know is going to ship to you. Okay, I wouldn't be looking at what's
in a short window of time.
Yes.
Explain that.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I would rather pay a little bit more to get your product in a short window of time than go out and bargain hunt and invest with somebody that you've never invested with before because they were cheaper and then have it show up 2 or 3 months later, or maybe not at all. So even some of the big online firms out there, they've raised their minimums to $10,000 minimum per deal. They're doing anything they can to try to make the amount of deals and business that they're having come in be manageable. So these are truly unprecedented times. Silver's having its day, but we're not quite there yet. We saw last month what is possible for silver, and it really is only the beginning.
What's happening right now is a final sale. Okay, I'm telling you, what we're witnessing right now is a final sale. From Christmas to January, silver ran 100% plus. It went to $121 in under a month. Okay. We're about to see magnitudes greater than that. It's about to explode. This is the final sale. We're seeing it right now. 77 is cheap because when it goes to 200, first, when it goes to 150, you're not buying it for 150. You'll probably be spending 200 just to get the silver that's priced at 150. Okay. and it's going to go to 300 and 400. This is not opinion. This is what God has stated, because we're stepping into not the wealth transfer, we're stepping into the great one. The greatest wealth transfer in human history is about to happen. God's going to use his money to manifest the great wealth transfer. Again, a lot of people may not have means to buy gold and silver. I get it. I understand, because the Babylonian system has made everybody, I call it a job, just over broke. Okay. And in the new kingdom economy, there won't be nothing like that. It'll be a time of more than enough, a time of plenty. Okay. But what I want to say is, starting February 1, they slammed down silver about twice as much. So proportionally, what's good for gold is great for silver, but reverse to that is what's bad for gold is horrible for silver. In other words, silver dropped twice as much than gold did. Okay. Did it break any charts? Absolutely not. And that's why I want to show this one pattern. Okay. So people are talking about, what's next? Well, if you want to know what's next, you don't look at silver. You look at gold. Because because they can't manipulate gold as much because of the amount of money that's involved in gold. And so I want to put up a chart here. So what you're seeing right here is this yellow it's called a candlestick in yellow right here. Okay. That's today. Okay. Andrew, take this chart and just explain what you're seeing. Since I made the chart, does it make sense? Explain what you're seeing in this chart and what gold is telling us per the chart, what's expected to come next.
Yeah, it's so what that chart shows is just how resilient gold has been, and how gold is drawn to $5,000 an ounce. And it's really interesting, because yesterday gold was down something like $135 an ounce. Today it's up like about $117 an ounce. And we're seeing that repetition almost every other day. Down big one day, up big the next. But gold is drawn to $5,000 an ounce. And so the lower end, the support level seems to be that 4,920. We saw it dip a little bit below that. It was into the high 4,800s for a little bit there, but it did come back up. And the resistance level appears to be that $5,090 an ounce. If gold can break through that $5,100 an ounce, we can see it charge straight toward the $5,500 an ounce that we saw before the January 30th crash. And one thing that we always talk about on our interviews together, Bo, is that oftentimes before anything, it can be a stock, it can be precious metals, it can even be a cryptocurrency. It's that thing you talk about, the cup with the handle. First it's high, then it comes down. As soon as it reaches that high level again, where it tests that high, if it can break through it again, it retests that high. If it can break through it again, then it takes off. That's the cup with handle, and that's something that works on investing about 3 out of every 4 trades. When you see a high being retested, or a resistance level being retested, that's when it could take off and reach a new high. And I do believe that gold will do that. And the reason we talk about gold is what we've said a few times here. What's good for gold is great for silver. Silver will be pulled up like a magnet, like Bo always says. It will literally be pulled up like a magnet and go up more percentage points as it has today.
Absolutely. And that's what you want to see in this chart here. Okay. Nothing is wrong. What this is just, you don't need to be a chart analyst to understand this. Okay. It's just so simple. It's called a triangle. When silver, the top of the triangle is roughly $5,100. Okay. When it takes out $5,100, it's game on, and it might test for a day or two, and then it's going to take off. And then it's not going to be long. Right after that, you're going to have $6,000 silver. $6,000 gold, $7,000 gold, working its way to $10,000 gold. Yeah, all that sounds crazy. Yes, that's what's about to happen. We're about to see prophecy fulfilled, which is an explosion on silver. So when silver explodes, it's going to blow through its last high of $121, and then it's going to run. It might test it for a day or two, and then it takes off. When it takes off, it's not coming back to $20. It's over, because the globalist, they tried with $10 trillion, and they took it down. So they still have a short-lived window of control, but they needed $10 trillion for that short-lived window of control, which we're sitting in right now, which actually gave everybody who's listening to this podcast what? A window of opportunity, a sale. So you've actually got a sale going on right now.
Yeah.
Because when gold takes out $5,090 or $5,100, the sale's over. Mark my words. And it's going to start to what's called accelerate. And silver then becomes gold on steroids. And what's good for gold is going to be incredible for silver. And silver is going to run and it's going to blow people's minds. So I just wanted to, show the viewers the chart, all the listen to us, understanding God said that there will be a great wealth transfer. Okay. He said that silver is going to blow the roof. We haven't seen it happen yet. I'm showing you gold is the marker to watch. We're very close to things going down here. And so I always find it a pleasure to have Andrew on the show. Why? Because if you do not have gold, if you do not have gold or silver, you do not understand history. Because history's proven for 5,000 years that every time man gets involved with money, they screw it up, and then God's money comes in to fix the problem. And that's exactly what's about to happen again. Just because you don't know much about gold or silver, you've never heard about it, you don't know how to buy it, they never taught you it in school, doesn't mean it's money. It means you don't know history. Okay, that's what it means. And history is about to replay itself. And if you have silver or gold and you want to buy some more, Andrew's a great source. Why? Because the moment you send a wire or money from your account, or whether you're doing a 401k or an IRA, understand that you want the shortest, the smallest window possible of time between your IRA being, between you moving your funds and your IRA being funded and the metal being delivered, or you sending the wire and the money arriving at your doorstep. The gold or silver arriving at your doorstep or the depository or wherever you're keeping it. You want quick, expedient delivery, and Andrew offers both of those to give you what? Peace of mind. So when the money leaves your bank account or your 401k or your IRA, you've got peace of mind. And then once the silver and the gold arrives, you've got more peace of mind, because I'm telling you, everybody who's got gold and silver right now, Andrew, do they got peace of mind? Finish it up, Andrew.
Yeah, they do have peace of mind. It's if you look at the things that you can invest in right now, I would say the big four are real estate, precious metals, stocks, and cryptocurrency. The stock market's having the worst start to any year that we've seen for several years, and I'm sure it'll rebound, but there's uncertainty out there. The cryptocurrency has been lackluster in 2026. I'm sure that will rebound as well. And as part of the cycle, real estate, at least in many of the bigger cities, has pulled back since late last year and into this year. But the one thing that's shining is the thing that always does well when everything else is not, which is gold and silver, which are the anchor. They're the insurance policy to your investments and your retirement. And I talk to people every single week, almost daily, that thank me, and they say, Andrew, I saw you in Bo, and because of that, I rolled over my 401k or my IRA into a precious metals IRA. I didn't really know what I was doing, and I just believed. Many of them tell me that they prayed with their families before doing it, and they did proceed, and now they've doubled and tripled the value in their IRAs. I've got people my associates that make sales calls to our clients, or that receive the inbound calls, they're turning in orders where they're doing like $1 million exchanges, gold to silver. Like clients that are trading us $1 million worth of gold for $1 million worth of silver. And they've been doing this since the middle of last year, and they've been rewarded handsomely. But the thing that really gets me is that I don't remember having as many $1 million clients as I'm seeing on the exchanges. And after I did a little research, I found out when people double or triple their accounts, when they start with 300,000-400,000, they become $1 million clients. And we have so many of them right now. And our focus isn't just with them. So for people out there that might have a retirement account with 20 or 25,000, or want to start with a cash purchase of 10,000, please reach out to us. We can definitely help you. It's for everybody from that level all the way on up to 8 figures. So I hope that people can reach out to us through our website. It's bh-pm.com. Fill out the online form. There it is right there. Put in your name, email address, and phone number. Say that you heard about us from the Gold 2020 forecast, or Bo Polny sent me. And in the notes section, be as detailed as you can. If you're like Bo and you invest in silver all the time and don't really need a consultation, tell us that, and we'll reach out to you and we'll give you our best price on whatever we can give you the best price on. If you want to learn more about using your retirement account and how to do it without it being a taxable event, we can show you how to own real precious metals without it being a taxable event. If you already have precious metals and you want to discuss ways that you might be able to obtain more without using cash, reach out to us. We've talked to people and found out they had annuities that they were able to get out of and put into gold and silver. They have old 401ks for companies that they've not worked at in decades that are just sitting there doing nothing, that they've rolled over. But we can find a way to help you, or at least get you the education necessary, so that when you are ready to do something, that you don't make a decision in haste. You make one that based on what you've learned.
We've done these podcasts for all these years. And honestly, as much as I love speaking with Andrew, I got to admit, Andrew, I love going to events more, because at these events, which I'm sure you go to as well, all you get is people coming up to you and saying, thank you. Thank you for what? For giving us financial freedom. The Babylonian system was about enslavement, to take away your freedom. Finances give you freedom. Again, I know some people, you cannot afford gold and silver. Guess what? Our God's a loving God, and he's going to bless with such abundance. Okay, so the wealth, great wealth transfer is going to come and start with a silver explosion. That's going to take the silver from 3 digits, eventually to 4 digits, like in time. But incredible numbers are coming in precious metals, because the US dollar, the no reserve system based on paper, is going to crumble. It's not going to go to zero overnight, but it will be dethroned. And God's money will rise up. And then the prophecy is Trump is going to reinstate a gold standard in America. Now, Andrew, if Trump reinstates a gold standard in America, to basically, because Nixon took us off the gold standard, this is the greatest one word ever used by Nixon: temporarily. He actually said, we're going off the gold standard temporarily in his speech, okay, 55 whatever years ago, okay? What a lie. So if Trump were to bring back the gold standard, and this is prophecy, yes, he will, okay? Again, I'm not putting words in anybody's mouth. I'm just saying what God has said is going to do, okay? And you own gold and silver. Are you not in the new money system? Explain on that a little bit. So just to understand that when or should an event like that happen, you're in, right, Andrew?
You're absolutely in. And what it makes me think about is that, that rock band U2 and the lead singer Bono, I've heard that he's a billionaire. And the way that he obtained his billions is that he was able to invest in Facebook before the stock was publicly traded. He was one of the early investors into that. And
what a coincidence.
Yeah, that's exactly what this is. It's of course, gold and silver, physical gold and silver aren't a stock, but by getting into it now, once we do go back to a gold-backed system, and remember, we're talking about a gold-backed system, but what's good for gold is great for silver. When we go to that gold-backed system, you're like Bono on the day that Facebook goes on the IPO and then goes up many times over in value. You're in on the ground floor. You're in when everybody else wasn't, because really only 1% to 2% of Americans understand what gold and silver can do for your portfolio, but it won't be that way forever.
I love what you said, right? What did Bono have? He had inside information, okay? What does Nancy Pelosi have? Inside information. What do all the politicians have? Inside information. And what do they do with it? They listen closely, they position themselves and they wait. Bono positioned himself and then he waited. Okay. God stated specifically what? There will be a wealth transfer and it will directly involve silver and gold. Position yourself. This is called faith. What is faith? The substance of things not seen, but will happen. Bono knew that it would happen. He bet on Babylon. I'm telling you what God's saying. This is going to be the reverse. They're going to lose it all, and the church gets it all. This is, on scripture, the flipping of the scales, the flipping of the financial scales. The wealth of the sinner, the globalists, has been stored up for the righteous, and we're about to see the greatest wealth transfer in human history. So, Andrew, thank you for being here. Wrap us up on any last words.
Well, for people out there, definitely reach out to us. It's not too late. People often think because they could have got silver years ago when they first heard us talk about it when it was $20 to $25 an ounce, that with it sitting at $77 an ounce, that the ship has gone past them, but it hasn't. It's still very early. It's jump on board with us because it's going to be a fun ride.
Thank you, everybody, for listening. God bless everybody. Share this podcast. Hit the thumbs up button. Hit the subscribe button. Get this video to the four corners of the earth. Share it with your friends and family, because when the great and the terrible day happens, when the wealth transfer hits, the doors are going to shut across globally all the bullion dealers, because they won't know what to do for a window of time. And when it does finally open back up, it's going to be at extremely big numbers. Okay. So this is final sale. God actually prophesied that through one of the prophets, that this is the final sale. So again, thank you, Andrew, for being here. And thank you, everybody, for listening in.